Hello friends, you're with Lonesome Gamer, and I'm playing 2038. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be the last video of the series, although not totally. We go into the next operating round. Now what is not totally clear is if this is going to be the last cycle of operating rounds or not. If the game will end basically at the beginning of this stock round, after the bank breaks. So let's see how much money is still in there. I think it's about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 3,500. That's 4,000. These might be something like, let's make it like this, probably more. This is then 5,000, let's say like this, 6,000, 6,500. Okay, maybe it's about 7,000 bucks, something like that. So, the companies, and that's kind of hard to say. I would say the companies. So basically, if there are 10 companies out there, right? So if the companies generate more than an average dividend of 350, it is pretty safe to say that the game will end at the end of that cycle of operating rounds, because the bank will break. If it doesn't, or if they don't, then the game will go an additional, an additional number of operating rounds. However, this player here, well, he realized that, first of all, he is last at the moment. I think that is for sure. This guy here is in the lead. He has a ton of money and the best stock value. I didn't quite realize that, but I realized now he's sitting here on 500 bucks. He holds an additional 500 bucks. So he has about 1,000 bucks in cash, which is so much more than everybody else, right? I mean, this guy has 200, but he has crappy shares. This guy has okay shares, but he's also just sitting on 200. So I think it is all not too impressive. This guy is by far in the lead. Who's going to come in second? I think this is actually going to be pretty close between this guy, that guy, and this guy down here. These two players hold both a pretty good share value. Pretty valuable shares. Well, he invested now in the TSI, which is good, but he has no shares of the RU or of the Asteroid League, which are the most impressive ones. Also not of the mining robotics. And that's the difference, you know. This guy holds 2 shares of the RU, 2 shares of the Asteroid Leagues, 3 shares of mining robotics. These are more worth than what he holds here. And Mars mining isn't great. On-site refining sucks totally. So therefore, when it comes to share value, I think the other players are at least as good as that guy is, maybe even better. They hold 6 shares mining robotics, 2 TSI, 1 Asteroid League. He possibly has the best share value. I'm not totally sure after him. In a way, he's also not doing bad here with his 3 shares and the 3 shares RU, the 3 shares AI, the TSI. But he is not at his share limit. So I don't think that he will be able to compete with the others. Yeah, and he is just, totally hosed. However, he's in the position where he says, my goal at that point is simply not coming in last. What I could do is, I could dump the Venus prospectors either on him, who's holding 3 shares, or on him, who's holding 2 shares. And I can actually decide who's going to be the president. If I sell all my 4 shares, he will end up with the presidency because he can only sell a single share then. If I say only 3 shares, he will be the guy with the presidency because then he's allowed to sell another 2 shares and then he's the one with the presidency. If he gets the presidency, there's a good chance he will go bankrupt because he's not allowed to juggle trains, to juggle ships, because he cannot buy that ship from the Asteroid League. That's a special rule. The Asteroid League is never allowed to sell the last ship. If he ends up being president of a company without a ship, he could juggle the ship between the companies for 2 operating rounds. It kind of sucks, but at least he would not go bankrupt. He wouldn't have to sell shares like crazy. Of course, he will make massive losses because these 2 companies then would not produce any income and the share value would drop. So it would be also very bad for him, but for him it would be a disaster. He's got to sell a good amount of shares and might even go bankrupt. So that is probably what he's going to plan if the game continues for, if we see another stock round, then I'm pretty sure he's going to drop the Venus prospectors on this guy over here. Okay, I'm starting now with the RU, and many companies will just make basically now their runs that they did already before, so I don't have to check everything again. I'm just going to pay out, obviously. There are just a few companies where it might be interesting, the ones that haven't yet operated, obviously, and I think there were some that might have improved a little bit, or some that might try to find a better route depending on what the other companies did. So it's kind of fun because I can lay this free claim here. So I got a base right here at the center, so I can fuck up some people pretty hard. For example, when it comes to the ice here, the Mars mining guys, they're making a lot of money. So now they're clearly making less. I can hurt them quite a bit. Yeah. So the Asteroid League could maybe improve. They have money because there's still shares in there that pay into the treasury, and also people purchased, I think, 1 or 2 shares. So there's quite a bit of money in here. So they might be able to place a few more claims. And I'm thinking about, for example, delivering nickel here. Here I only deliver a single ice, which gives me a good amount of money. We also have the rare here. So basically you can say, okay, the bonus I get from these 3 or from these 2, or let me say it that way. At the moment I make $310, right? If I do everything perfectly, if I arrange everything perfectly, I can make, if I claim, let's say, 5 of these nickel, of the good ones, I can make 350 because of the plus 10 nickel delivered here. Then I could make 350. That would be pretty awesome. I mean, it's not that great, but there is no reason not to do it. And so I can lay, that's the special thing about the Asteroid League, I can actually lay 3 claims in a single term, but that crap is pretty expensive. I gotta pay 100, 175. So if I want to really lay 3 claims, I gotta pay 235. That's a lot of money, but I have that. 235. And there's not really a lot I can do with that money apart from investing in claims. And it's not even sure if it helps me a bit. Only if there is another number of stock rounds I can actually use these claims, because it simply takes me a while to set this up appropriately. I mean, I could claim these 2 suckers down here, and then maybe the one up here. So that might give me an advantage then. The problem is there is no refuel station here. So maybe it's even necessary for me to build a base. I might have to do that. I think I will, actually. The question is, can I afford a base and a refuel station? I think I can. Wow, a lot of expenses here. But I think it makes sense for me. So I'm going to build a base first. Cost me $50 to do so. I think I want to... Interesting. So, I think I want to... damn it. If I build my base here, it seems maybe not like the best idea. I think I want to base it. Nah, come on. That's all quite stupid. If I place it here, I think I want to build a base here. Okay, so that is a $50 base. It's also not good news for the Mars guys, because they're losing another potential ice. Okay, now I can place a refuel station. And I wonder where that makes the most sense. So if I start down here, let's say I managed to grab... No, actually I started here, right? 1, 2. I might consider grabbing this one. 3, 4. No, it's not working like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could refuel here, which means then I have... Shit. The problem is, I have actually a pretty bad ship. It's only a 6.5 ship. That is, compared to these 9 ships, it's really poor. So I got a feeling I really have to spend more on refuel stations and stuff. Boy, this is pretty crazy, actually, but... okay. We have a lot of refuel stations, luckily. So, okay, I think what I want to do is I'm going to build a refuel station here. And it's maybe necessary to build another base somewhere here and another refuel station or so that I can grab as much stuff as possible. Then I'm going to lay 3 claims. I mean, this might all be completely unnecessary. So 1, 2... But let's be honest, And another one up here, I think. It doesn't do me any harm because, well, the money is just sitting there and it doesn't hurt me to spend it. But it does harm to some other guys, that's for sure, because yeah, the Mars Mining is losing some of his ice that they might want. These nickel are interesting, for example, for OPC. So I'm definitely fucking up some other guys here. So I'm not sure if I actually did that right the last time with the mining robotics, but I think they might actually be able to make a better run. If I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then refuel here and then like this. Just let me do a quick calculation there. That gives me, if I deliver the ice here, I get here 10 additional bucks. So that's basically 60, that's 120, 190, 260, and that is then 320. Yeah, I think that's what I had before too. Okay. So this is all pretty complex here. Well, first of all, the companies ran basically for what they did before. It was no big deal, but a few companies placed claims here just to piss other companies off or simply because it helped them. For example, the RU down here, the ice claim, that hurts the that hurts Mars Mining quite a bit. And they gotta find a better route now, which is tough for them. It really is. My idea was maybe I start here. So if I go, let's say 1, and then go back 2, I have still 9 operating pounds left. I can never have more than I started. So the refuel station doesn't give me the full effect here. But then I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I refuel again, and then I'm at 8. And then it's 1, 2, I grab this. Let's mark that. 3, 4. Get this stuff here. 5, 6. And I can decide if I want to go here or take that. I think this is probably better. So let's see how much we get. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that gives us at least 7. I think that's probably the best we have. So yeah, okay, cool. I'm gonna do that then. It's really hard to find a good route with these guys. So this, I get an additional plus 10 per ice. So it's basically 60 and 70, so it's 130, 180, 230, 270, 320, that would be 390. That's pretty good actually. It's not quite as good as the one I had before with the 41, but 39 is still a decent run. So Venus is having a good run here. They make 350, although they have only 3 claims. But here, and then they go here, they deliver also these, so they start basically here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They have a 9-5 ship, so there is no problem then to pick up these. They might even consider exploring. Yeah, I think they can afford to explore that space here. Maybe they find another rare, which they do. But sadly, it's also not a good one. Okay. That gives them 10 bucks. and they're gonna lay then yeah, they will place 2 claims for 160. Actually not. Shit, they only have a single claim left. What? Are you sure? That's weird. They should have 5. I can only see 4 here. Yeah, there's one up here. Shit. Yeah, so they basically, that kind of sucks. Okay, well, anyway, so it's going to be 60 for one more claim, which they're going to simply place here. Yeah, that's not too great, but it's a good run. I mean, and it will improve a little bit. So 350 is actually a good run. And of course they also will pay out. So the OPC is really in a bad shape. They have a very good ship, but they have no claims. They get a +10 on nickel delivery, but nickel without a claim is worth shit. And therefore this bonus is basically nearly pointless. They gotta hope to find some better materials. And yeah, it's a really bad position. I think what they want to do is they want to, I mean, they're starting here. I think they want to explore these 2 and then make their way down here. That's probably the best they can do at the moment. I don't really see other options. I mean, maybe exploring these 2 might even be better, because it doesn't help other companies that much. But still, I mean, this is just ridiculous. I think I'm going to go with these 2, and I don't know. Okay, let's start with this one. Now that is a rare and a nickel, not the real good ones. So I think I'm going to take the nickel here. By the way, I think I'm also going to take that nickel. I mean, it's better than nothing. So, and then I'm going to take... Actually, I could take both, the rare and the nickel. Do I want to do that? I have 7 slots, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I think I actually want to do that. Okay, just have to remember which ones these were. I'm going to do another exploration. Okay, that's a good rare. But in the end, it's not that. I mean, I don't get such a big bonus for that stuff. But of course, I'm going to grab it. So that means we have now... We moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so actually, yeah, that's all I can get. I mean, I can only get basically these 4, no, these 3. So that's a +10 here, because it's nickel, so I get 20. Another, that's 50 then, 70, 100, and then this one here, that's 160. Well, that is obviously pretty poor. I thought about swallowing and placing claims, but honestly, at that point of the game, it's just not worth it anymore. The money I make with the share increase is simply worth more than the few bucks that I make from placing now 1 or 2 claims. It just isn't worth swallowing. So that means I pay out and I get 16 bucks per share. OSR are also in a really bad situation, similar to the OPC. They have a great ship, but no claims out there. They get a bonus +10 per all delivered claims. Yeah, that's great. in addition to that, they're sitting right here where there is so little to gain. I mean, okay, maybe it's not that bad. There is at least the ice here. There's another ice here. So they could go here and grab these ice, maybe try to find something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it doesn't really work out. But, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's... Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could go there. Is that the best I get? It's hard to tell. Honestly, I don't think so. I think I might want to try to explore a little more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I want to try to explore these guys. I could even go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, let's try to do it that way. So I'm going to start grabbing the nickel here and the ice. It's kind of a shame because this ice is great, but you know, I want to make some, maybe I'll find something more interesting there. So we have 3 tiles. Let's see what the first one gives us. Shit. Yeah, nickel without a claim is bad. So 1, 2. I can carry up to 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I'm only gonna get the better nickel and hope that I find more interesting stuff. Nah. Okay, that's at least an ice. So I'm gonna take these 2. And yeah, as I said, I can carry up to 7 in my cargo bay. So now we have 5. I want to get that transshipment point so I can still carry 1 here. Great. Boy, is that bad. Yeah, that's another... Fuck. That's another nickel. I mean, these are good with claims, but without claims, it's just horrible. So yeah, I'm going to take this one then. So it's just basically, this is... Oh boy. This is 60, 90, 120, 140, and another 60. That's 200. Yeah, great. Same situation here. He could have swallowed to lay, for example, 2 claims here on the nickel, which definitely will improve his position laying claims. But you know, if we have, I think we will have 3 more operating rounds. The thing is that, you know, if we don't swallow, we end up basically 1, 2, 3. We end up here. If we swallow, we would end up 3 spaces behind, which would be here. So that means we would lose 40 per share. In addition, we lose the 40 bucks that we make now because we pay out. I hold 2 shares. That means I would lose 80 bucks by swallowing now. Will I make 80 bucks because of these 2 additional claims? Now, if I lay a claim here, that gives me 4 more. Another claim here gives me 8 more. And then I get a plus 10 for all delivered claims. So that means I get basically 10 additional per share. Right? And in 3 more operating rounds, this difference simply doesn't pay out for me. It just doesn't do me any good. So yeah, I think I'm not going to swallow here. So next operating round, and again the first ones have a pretty fixed route here. One thing is really interesting to notice, and I think it is fairly unique in this game, because the runs are pretty low, and I think that I'm not sure if it is really standard, if that happens in every game, but I could see that in very often that is the case, because compared to other games where the routes become more and more valuable because the cities become more and more valuable, here, once you placed your claims, the value of your route will not increase anymore. You know? And, I mean, okay, you could get some additional bucks of the transshipment point, but the real money comes basically from the claims, and that money stays the same if it is phase 1 or phase 6. There's no difference. If you have a claim there, you get your, I don't know, for example here, your 60 bucks, and that's it. You can, of course, get more claims, or you can, if you have a better ship, you can make more money. That makes total sense. But for example, if I have 3-2 ships early in the game, I will not make more money with a 6 ship if all these 3-2 ships have claims. Let's imagine that. I will not make more money with a 6 ship than later in the game. You know, I can always, I mean, with a ship that can carry 2 cargo, or with a ship that can carry 6 cargo, you know, as soon as I can carry the same amount of cargo, I'm going to make the same amount of money here. And in the other 18xx games, it's different, because the cities get more valuable, and that is not the case here. So that I think that's a reason why the runs don't rise massively, and therefore, and that's what I wanted to point out, we are at a point where actually the share value increase is for some companies higher than the revenue itself. For example, these guys, and that is also a reason because it rises 2 spaces, right? So these guys made 40 bucks per share. The revenue was only 31 bucks per share. So I think that's interesting to note. Yeah, the Asteroid League, again, they made some income because of the shares in here. That allows them to buy another base. I mean, that's really also bad news for some other companies, because now this one here will be destroyed. It was a great ice, or a good ice, so it kind of sucks. Gonna place a base there. And in addition to that, they're going to spend another 25 bucks for a refuel, or another 50 bucks for a refuel station right here. And I hope I got the money for my last claim. Let's see if I have that. So it's 25, 35, 40, oh gosh, 50, 55, and oh gosh, look at that, it's just enough money for another claim. That's pretty insane. That's another 60, and that's enough. That's just what I needed to set up a route which will actually then improve my position. So if I lay a claim here, I then can deliver 5 goods, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nickel. I can deliver them all here to this nickel base. And yeah, I gotta go here and like this, refuel here, and then make it to the nickel base. That will work out, and that will give me a better run than the run that I made up here, which wasn't terrible, but I will get a few bucks more out of this run, and it will hurt the other people definitely. So that is kind of fun, but that will only happen in the next operating round. Okay, again, Mars Mining had to come up with some kind of route, and this time it's again totally different. They go 1, 2, grab the rare which was discovered last round, and then go back. Then they refuel here. Then they go 1, 2, 3, take here the claim, and of course they take here the other claim. So they go here, then they refuel again, and then they go 1, 2, grab the ice, go back, 3, 4, grab the ice here, 5, 6, take the rares, 7, take the rares, and then deliver that whole crap here. So they get a plus 20 per rares. I think that's actually not so bad. So let's see what comes up with that. It's really hard to optimize this on this map, right? But it looks like it's kind of a neat idea because there is not so much ice left. You know, a lot of people claimed ice. A good ice was destroyed here by the base. So that run that I had before doesn't exist anymore for me. And I have to come up with some solution. So I think this might be a good idea to be a little flexible and say, okay, fuck it, I'm then going to go for the rares. Okay, so I get a plus 10 for each ice and plus 20 for each rare. So that means I get 60, 110, 180. Let me go up here. That brings me to 250. We go down here, so that's already 300. And that is then 340. And that is 380. So again, a very good run. It's just, again, 10 bucks less than I had before. So although these guys are messing me up totally, you know, I'm still performing well. The problem now, for example, is for the Venus prospectors. They cannot grab these rares anymore, so they gotta find also another way how to help themselves. Yeah, I think they're gonna lose also money now. Well, for Venus, it's not that bad. That 9 ship is really valuable. They grab simply this, so they go kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, do a refuel action, and then grab this one and go here. So basically they have 4 claims, and that unclaimed one means they get, well, let's see, that's 110, 130, 180, and 230 plus 150, because they have all these, they have a plus 30 bonus per rare basically. So that was, yeah, wait, I forgot it. 230 plus 150, right? So I guess that's 380. That is a very good run. Okay, so at that point now, this guy will dump the company on him. Actually. That's, I mean, he will not dump the company right now, but he will definitely prepare it. As I said, at the moment he's last. He thinks this is basically his main competition. The others are probably more ahead. So, or maybe that one, but we can still make that decision later. But my idea is I want to really strip this company completely off its money, because there is quite a bit of money in here, nearly 400 bucks. So what I want to do is I basically want to buy yeah, I want to buy that ship for everything in here, and then I simply will buy for $2 these two ships back to the OPC. The thing is, of course, that the OPC cannot run that time, but it only made $16 anyway, so I'm going to losing 32 and another here, a bit here. So overall I might lose about $50 to $60 because of that. But this guy, or the one who takes then the company, loses about 400. And in addition to that, both of them also hold an OPC share, so they will also lose a little bit of money now. Therefore, I think that's okay to do. And so obviously, well, that was actually Venus. It wasn't the OPC yet, but now it's going to be the OPC. The OPC will not going to be able to run a ship, but they're going to buy for $5 from Venus these two ships. And yeah, now this guy is already totally pissed when he sees what's going to happen. Only hope is that it's going to hit him and not him, but we'll see. Okay, which means we got a lot of money to lay some claims, and we might as well do that. Yeah, I think I actually want to build a base here and a refuel station. So one of my, first I got to pay 50 for the base. And funny thing is, my first refueling station is free. So question is, do I want to place that here or here? Well, I think I will place it here, to be honest. I can still place one later, maybe here. So that means I got to pay $50 for the base. In addition, I want to place two claims, obviously. So in general, I'm interested in nickel because it gives me a +10. So let's see where we can find some high value nickel. Well, there's not that much out there, we got to be honest about this. I might grab this one here. And if I start here, does it make... I mean, I could... Yeah, why not? I'm going to grab myself this one then. It's not exactly great, but... Okay. Well, that's this. That's the OPC then, and it will lose share value because I didn't run any companies, I didn't pay out, I didn't run any ships, I didn't pay out. And then eventually it's the OSR. They have still their 9-7 ship. Let's see what they can do with it. They have a run which might not be terrible for the fact, I mean, they don't have any claims. That's the funny part. But they start here. Now let's see. They want to. Let's say they want to deliver nickel here. They might actually consider, because they get a... Nah, it's not that much. If they go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right? They could do that. They have 7 slots, so they want to take the ice, obviously. And in addition, maybe that ice, that can't hurt. The nickel, that nickel here, I mean, this is not a great run, but they're very limited in their options at that point. Okay. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Okay, fine. So let's see what we can do. That's going to be, I mean, each nickel is plus 10. Okay, so it's going to be 30, that's 90, 120, 150, 180, 230. Well, I mean, considering that we don't have a single claim, it's actually not that bad. So now we come into the stock round, and yes, a few interesting things will happen, not for everyone though. This guy here is, yeah, I mean, he's pretty much happy with his portfolio, so he's not going to do anything at that point. He's not interested in selling something, he's not interested in buying something, he's just fine. This guy, yeah, he will dump the company now, and the basic question is, which of these two guys is hurt more by a company dump? And the answer is clearly this one, simply because, and I already said that at the beginning, he cannot juggle trains around because this cannot be sold. So he could basically say, okay, shit, I got the company now dumped on me, but okay, what I could do is I could, for example, sell the problematic shares, maybe buy some other stuff if it is out there. In this way, I will not lose, I mean, I still lose money, right? But it's not, I won't go bankrupt, and maybe I will not even lose that much share value, although this is, it's definitely problematic. I think he will take a bad hit. But his problems are much bigger. And as I said, he really wants to prevent being a last. And at the moment he clearly is. So he wants to stop one of the two, and he wants to stop this guy. And the only way this is going to work is if he sells only 3 shares instead of all 4 of his shares. Because if he sells 3 of the Venus prospectors, this guy is stuck with the presidency. He can then only sell, well, that is crap, if he sells 4, because then he can only sell 1 share and he cannot get rid of the presidency. But if he sells 3 shares, this guy can also sell 2, and then he is sitting on the presidency. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to keep 1 share, and well, basically, at the moment, this guy is sitting on the presidency. 3 shares go in here. Share value drops. And I get 3 times 152. Well, that is 456. So, of course, I'm eager to invest at that point. And I think I want to buy a TSI here for 223. And by the way, you can see here they're about 1,500 or so in the bank pool, so it was actually pretty far from breaking. I didn't expect that. Okay, this player is at the certificate limit, he passes, same over here. This guy has to get rid of 2 of his shares. So that means the presidency is now here. And the value is at 136, so it's 272. And well, here's another bug actually. Okay, cool. And now he's also allowed to buy another share. I think he will invest in the Asteroid League. It's pretty safe, as I said. The guy cannot sell the last chip, so there is no reason not to do so. He simply buys a share of the Asteroid League for 244. Let's see what I can do here. 230, 45. Well, of course, the money goes into the treasury of the Asteroid League because the share came out of the Growth Corporation box. Yeah, I mean, this guy, he holds now the presidency of Venus Prospectus. For right now, that's not a big problem, but it will be a problem during the next stock round or during the next operating round. But, well, right now it doesn't really matter. He can simply also try to improve his portfolio. Gosh, gotta make sure I don't mix all that money up here. So, I think he also wants to invest in the Asteroid League here. Okay, I mean, what's interesting is this guy invested in the OSR. And he realizes that, hey, this guy only has 2 shares of the OSR. So if I buy another share of the OSR, I might also able to jiggle trains around, right? Because then I will be the president of the USR, which is kind of sweet. And that is maybe an option to save me from a too hard crush. And yeah, I think I want to actually do that. It's not cool, but it might help me to survive. And now, because he had to get rid of the presidency, that means he is above his certificate limit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so he says, you know what? Fuck that shit. I'm going to sell them both immediately. Stock price drops only by 1 though. And because they won't make any money, right? He's just using them to save his ass. So they're not gonna pay out, and the share value will simply drop. So they are totally useless. You don't want to hold them. So he gets basically what was that? Well, it's 196, and then he's going to play a planet consortium, which is actually not that bad because now it's sitting on 2 ships. We might see a pretty funny run there with very little claims, but 2 ships, so he can pick up all all what's left there, which is kind of fun. And that thing is worth 68. Okay, so 196. Gosh, it's 188, 128. That's what he gets back here. Okay. So he has now 1 less share. But the only option he could have defended the presidency was to sell one of the others. But, you know, it really was not making a lot of money, so I don't want to get rid of another share. Therefore, yeah, holding 1 less share of the OSR is worth it, I guess. Okay, that means now this guy will get first player. And I think because he is now the president, he might have the opportunity to buy another share. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Indeed. So let's see what's interesting that is out here. Well, I think the OPC is definitely the most interesting option right now. It's better than the OSR, but he wanted the OSR because he wanted the presidency. And so yeah, he buys the OPC for $68. There we go. Cool. Okay, so that's the end of the stock round. Everybody is pretty much at its certificate limit. And now we're going to go through the last set of operating rounds. And again, the established companies will simply run their routes, but there are a few which might do some funny stuff. These two, the OSR and the VP, basically stop running ships, and there's also no money in there to lay claims or do anything. So basically they stop operating. The share value will simply drop, and that's all. Well, actually the stock round isn't over yet. This guy still has a lot of money, and he also has not his portfolio is not filled. What he can do is he can now basically attack this guy. The question is, can he, for example, say, I buy, well, there are more than 4 shares out there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, I don't know. Basically, he had to sell a share to threaten him to buy the presidency away from him. My idea would have been that, okay, if I start now buying shares, at some point he then has to sell shares. And maybe that is actually something I want to do. Maybe I want to, but nah, I don't think it works out. No, the idea was, okay, if I start now buying shares, and let's say I would be at 8 certificates instead of 10. I could start buying shares, and then at some point he sees, okay, I might be able to buy my 4th share. So I gotta pay. I gotta sell a share, and then I can buy another share here, and then he's got to sell the next share, and so on. And at that point, I could actually then simply dump all the OSR shares and buy the shares that he sold, because these are pretty much all better than the shit that is laying there. And but the problem is to really threaten him. I should have started that earlier, and instead of buying other shares. But yeah, because now I have to start basically to sell my own shares to get the presidency of the OSR, which doesn't make a lot of sense, obviously. So I think instead I'm simply going to invest more in the OPC for $100. There's not much else out there, and I'm going to buy another one. So where are we now? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, I can buy one more, which doesn't make any sense at all, because the ones that are left will lose money, that's for sure. So for that reason, yeah, I don't have to do it. Okay, now it's the end of the stock round. Actually, yeah, no, I think I'm gonna do the next cycle of operating rounds. I will do most of it off camera, possibly, so therefore I think I don't want to load this up now. So Resources Unlimited was operating and paying out. Of course, the Asteroid League also operated, but what they did is just to piss off other players. They built a base here and destroyed, I think, a rare and something else, and then they laid claim here on an ice, another really good ice up here, and even a third one. I'm not totally sure. I think, yeah, that one here, right in the center. That's pretty nasty for especially Mars, I think, who have not yet developed or who don't have claims on all the claims they needed. But it's also bad for OPC and the OSR. I mean, okay, the OSR can operate up here, but especially the OPC and Mars will suffer from that. They had tons of money. They still have 200 something. Now they're out of claims. They only have one refuel station left. So they might even place that. I mean, there is no reason not to do it. Just to give the other players less options. Maybe here. And yeah, that's pretty much all they're gonna do. And then from now on, they have a pretty solid run of 35, simply by using all these nickel claims here. We started here 1, 2, 3, and then I went to come to a refuel station here, grabbed that nickel claim, and then I delivered here with a plus 10 nickel. So I have 5 cargo slots, so I delivered basically 5 times 7 for nickel. That was not bad at all. So Mars will do some exploration up here, I guess, where that base is. That's an ice, which is kind of sweet for them. So they're gonna grab this one. That was lucky. And they get also $10, of course. Okay, so that was 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna take that one. 4, 5. I'm gonna take that one, and then I'm gonna move in here 6. Okay, that means I'm down to 3, but I can refuel another 3, so I'm at 6 then. 1, 2, 3, and I'm gonna grab this one, and I'm still at 6. And now it's 1. I'm gonna grab the rare. I don't think I'll take this one then. 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm gonna deliver here and take the 7T. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think that my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, actually, I could still take this one too. Here was it 6, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I can do that. So yeah, I then have 7 slots. So let's see. That gives me at least an additional 10. So that's 50, 100, and I get that one. So that's 170. It's not so bad. 240. 300. That's actually pretty good. 330. And in the end, I'm at 400. That is even an improvement. Yeah, pretty cool. I don't know if that would have been possible earlier, but hey, who cares? Now it is, and of course we're going to pay out. The OPC is really in a very... they have 2 ships, but everything is claimed. They get a plus 10 for nickel deliveries. But you know, it's so hard to even find something of interest out there. There are the rares here. There's a nickel here. Maybe these should try to go down here, but it's far from their base. 1 here and there. I don't know if that's really worth it. Okay, I think I know what I want to do actually. I'm going to send my... I got a 9-7 and a 9-5 ship. Doesn't really matter. So if I start, I have a base here basically. So if I start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I can refuel, and then I have still 4 left. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can do that. Or maybe it's even better to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, then I'm not going to discover that, but this is okay. But I make another 20 bucks, 70 bucks here. Yeah, okay, I think I want to do that. So first I'm going to go here because I got a claim here. And I'm also going to grab the ice. And then I will explore 2 spaces here. Probably these 2. Does it matter? Let me see. If I start there, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that means I got 1 movement point left. And then I can refuel to 4. But I only would need 3 basically. 1, 2, no. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. Awesome. Okay, cool. So I'm going to explore now a few more textiles. Ooh, that's nice. That's a good ice. That's obviously pretty cool, and I'm going to grab that right away. Oops, shit. And the next one. That is a nickel, which isn't that bad either. Actually, it's interesting. I got a claim up here too, so maybe I should... Okay, and then I got to refuel. Now I got 4 points left. I think I'm going to take that nickel. Two. Yeah. I don't want to give away that claim, but I still can take that with the other ship, I guess. Okay. So then I'm gonna go, yeah, 1, 2, grab the ice there, and maybe the nickel. Let me see how much I need. 3, 4. I got now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can take the nickel here too. Okay, fine. Now let's see. This ship wakes me then, not that much. 30. The OPC, okay, it's a plus 10 for nickel. So that is 100, 150, 180, 200, 230, 300. Hey, that's not bad with a single ship. 300 is actually pretty good. And we still have another ship, which is pretty crazy. So then I got another ship which can only carry 5. If I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I think I might go with that. Well, I got a refuel station here, though. I could go, if I start here, I could go 1, 2, and grab the crappy nickel here. Then I got 2, and go here, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want that claim. I mean, I can only carry 5. I don't... Okay, no, I'm going to explore. I'm going to explore these 2 spaces here. Okay, that is a very good ice for 50. This is obviously great. Then I'm going to go here. That is a good nickel, which is also nice. This is worth 30 now for me. And okay, so I took the nickel here. No, I didn't. I didn't do that. 1, 2. Then I'm going to take that claim. I'm going to take the nickel here, and then I'm going to move back to this station. So overall, that's going to be 50, 80, 150. Another 20 is another 170. So that is overall then 240. Okay, I mean, obviously that is a fantastic run. 240. So I'm at 540. This is by far the best run. And that will give him some boost. And as you can see at that point, this run, before I even started payout, the bank is empty. There are just, I don't know, 50 bucks in there or so. So I got to add some new money, and that makes it now official. After this operating round, there will be one more operating round, and then the game simply ends. I think the OPC will build a base here. Maybe even here. I think that's even better. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that should be a good spot for them. Okay, cool. And then they are allowed to lay 2 claims, and of course they will. It's just one more run, but it will add a little bit of money. So yeah, they are eager to deliver nickel, right? So I think I'm gonna go for this one. Well, I mean, do I want to do that? The thing is, I don't want the Mars guys to grab the ice here. That could help them quite a bit. And they are allowed to run before me. So maybe, you know, I think actually I'm not going to place it here. I'm going to place it here instead, because I want that ice and I don't want the others to take it. And I think it is very likely that if Mars operates, they might want to try to... it's hard. It's going to be hard for them to do that, though. They have all their refueling stations and stuff down there. So, you know, I don't think I have to be afraid of that too much. They have only a single ship, and they have their claims here, they have their refueling stations down there. They simply cannot go there. That's too far from them, I think. And yeah, that is already then the end of this operating round. So the OPC ran for 550, which was pretty good. With their 2 ships, one operated here, grabbed all the nickel and delivered it here. So even without the claims, it was, I think, 180. That wasn't great, but it's something. But the others made, or it was 150, I think. But the others made 380 with their ship, which was really strong. And yeah, of course, also they will pay out. So the share value rises, and at the end it's the OSR. And all they can do is buy back the ship from Venus Prospectors, and the share value will drop. And that's it. That's the end of the round. And yeah, let's count the money. Pretty sure this guy is the winner. He's got tons of 500s here and a very good share value. But it's going to be interesting who's going to be last and also second on. So I think it's going to be very close. This guy also has a lot of money sitting here. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting who's going to be second. My guesses are this one, but yeah, we'll find out. So, back with the results, and we have a surprise actually. The winner is not this guy. I clearly thought he would win, but the winner is him. Player 3, and the reason is simply he's got a ton of money. He's sitting on $2,738, while this guy is only sitting on 2,100. So the difference is $300 here in total. So let me see. This guy, 2,700, 2,100. So overall they're about 300 apart. Yeah, so the share value of this guy was about 300 or 400 better, but in the end it was simply the money that was enough. These six shares were performing really well. I mean, this is all pretty close now, right? So therefore, it's not such a big difference as I thought. Especially because these guys, I mean, they were sold out at some point, and that made them rise. And, for example, the RU was already on the top for a while. So and then again, he only held 4 shares of the RU, 2 shares of the Asteroid League. This guy also holds 6 shares of the TSI. So yeah, it's not, you know, from these 3 top companies, both of them held 6 shares. And in the end, it then was simply the money which was important. Third is, let me see. Third is this guy over here, the guy who was in control over Mars Mining. He also has a lot of money, also more than him actually, but yeah, but the share value wasn't as good, obviously, because from the top he had only the Asteroid League, basically only 2 shares, well, also 2 shares of the RU, so maybe it wasn't that bad if you think about it. He held 6, this guy held 4, so yeah, he wasn't that far behind these 2 shares, but in the end it wasn't enough. Then we got on the 4th place, let me see, this guy here. That was kind of be expected, right? He had very little money. He was below 2,000. I guess it was, they had a pretty good share portfolio. These 2 here, these 2, and also the mining robotics, they were also worth quite a bit. That gave him a solid position in the middle of the pack. And now we come to the losers. And well, we could at least say that his plan worked out. He managed to screw this guy. So he came in 5th with 4,592. Not too much money, but I mean that was pretty much to be expected. This guy It was very close between the two. He was on 4,592 and he was on 4,551. So, if not for this move, he would have easily been before him, and I would even guess maybe he could have been even higher. I think it would be possible because he only has 927 bucks. I mean, that is obviously a disaster. The reason is simply that 5 of his shares simply didn't produce any money. They simply didn't operate. They even lost money. It was good enough to save him over the last 2 operating rounds, but in the end he lost it anyway. Okay, so we're at the end of the game, and a few words. Well, I gotta say, I think it's a really interesting game. It's one of the better games, I think, in the 18xx genre. I mean, they're all fantastic, but this one is, in my opinion, it's a really good one. I like specifically the financial options that you have in this game. There is a lot going on, and we've seen that. We've seen a company dumped on someone else. We've seen the stealing of companies by players, and then you have a lot of options. You got the independent companies that can transform into major companies. You got the Asteroid League, which can swallow the minor companies. I think this gives you really a lot of interesting choices. And a lot of interesting tools how to generate money here. I also like the 2 ways of the capitalization, that from the growth corporation and from the basically from the public corporations box. So you make your full capitalization or your partial capitalization. Also the option with the expansion that you can now basically buy the shares back into the treasury. We haven't seen that in this game, but in general, I think it's a cool additional option. And just as I said, I really enjoy these financial tools that you have in this game. The pace of the game, well, it's interesting. I mean, the game develops fairly slow. At least that's my feeling, right? You got a lot of ships in this game, really a lot of ships. There are also a lot of companies, no doubt. You got all the independents, which also need their ships and so on. But still, there are a lot of ships, and the game really develops very slow. But then, toward the end, it went pretty fast, and I found that kind of interesting. I already said that the runs don't become that much richer toward the end, simply because you don't have these cities that become more and more valuable. But once you place the claim on one of these spaces, the value will remain the same for the rest of the game. So there is no growth in this game like you have them in so many other 18xx games. And basically with 2 ships, you make the same amount of money as with 1 6 ship. You might even have the option to make more because you can go to refuel stations and so, but in the end you just carry the same amount of cargo, right? So there is basically no difference there. The companies, the money in the game the money of the companies in the game is pretty tight, and I think that is also a reason why the ships don't fall so fast. Simply because the companies have to invest a lot of money in infrastructure. They really have to. The claims are extremely expensive, but they're also very important. And yeah, then you got your refuel stations, all that stuff, you know. I mean, compared to a few tokens that you place in a few other games, you really spend a lot of money here. And therefore you don't spend that money for ships. Money is easier to get here because if you swallow half, it's not that painful. So this is something that we saw a lot of times. It was basically kind of normal. I mean, okay, from time to time there was a full payout, but what happens very rarely is that you swallow completely, because it is really drops you back. But swallowing half, as I said, is a good compromise, and I think many companies did that. That's the reason why many companies did that. Well, let's talk a little bit about the criticisms. First of all, many players said this is a super fiddly game. I assume they mean that you have to mark the spaces, the mines that were already visited. I don't think that is a big problem, to be honest. Maybe if you use these little markers, technically you could flip them, and there is a used then here, and that is horrible. I mean, there is no doubt you don't want to do that, you know, because first everything is kind of shifted around, and you definitely want to avoid that. But you don't have to. You don't have to mark the already claimed mines, simply because I'm pretty sure you can remember it during your turn or during your operating round, and in another operating round or in the operating round of another company, the other company is not allowed to go there anyway. So it is already marked in a way. And I use the pawns here, and I think they do a perfect job. I actually used quite a bit now at the end, because there were quite a few companies who did not have any claim, or who had to use a lot of mines that did not have claims. But there was a phase in the game where there just were 3 or 4 pawns by the end of an operating round. So I think it's not a big deal to mark these mines. I don't see a problem there at all. I've heard that often the late ships don't come out in the game. I think that issue has been solved with the expansion. You have now two additional companies, and well, we've seen that the ships easily came out. Even though most of the companies only had a single ship, still we ended up with, I don't know, 2 or 3 of these 6 ships out there. So I think if you play with the expansion, which is for free, you can do a print and play expansion, right? Then you can download that on BGG. Then it's not a big deal. The map, well, I mean, that is the most unique thing of the game, I think. You can see it, obviously. It's a very special map. You have an exploration element, which you don't have in most 18xx games. There is a luck factor involved, which I see some hardcore 18xx gamers already getting a heart attack from. But I think usually the luck factor is not such a big deal. I mean, we've seen one point where this independent company here managed to get the last chip just because it explored the right hex. And there was a lot of luck involved there, yes. But in general, I think it's not such a big deal. It's just a little bit of a different development, and you can, I don't know, it's hard to tell. I mean, maybe, I think it evens out most of the time. There might be sometimes, yeah, an advantage for people. I don't know. I don't have the experience for that. But I think it is interesting because you have to plan a lot of routes. It's really, yeah, you still have to do a lot of planning, and it's every time a little different. You know, it's not like in many other games where you have one city where every game is the same going on, and you have the same accumulation of action there, and of stations, and of track, and half of the map is empty. This is not the case here, right? It really depends on where the interesting elements fall, if there is a cluster somewhere, and then that can be every time a little different. I think that's pretty cool. However, I miss the track laying. I gotta be honest. Track laying is for me an aspect that I really enjoy in 18xx, and also the tokens, the blocking, you know, all that kind of stuff. This is something I also love about 18xx, and you don't have that here, right? You can do a lot of interesting things, and you know, as a kind of as a variant to your standard 18xx games, I'm really happy that this is something we can see here. But I'm also happy that this is not in every 18xx game. I gotta be as honest as that. Yeah, okay. I think that's pretty much all I can say. I really enjoyed the game a lot. It is a fairly long game. But yeah, I mean, still, I think it was interesting. A lot of interesting decisions to make, especially on this financial aspect, and a little bit of variety with the exploration, a little bit of luck. I think it's cool to have that game in your collection. Okay, so hope to see you in the next video or on lonesomegamer.com. Bye.